never stop reading Bible. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into Psalms 71 through 75. We've got some great material guiding us.
Yeah, the goal is really to unpack what these specific psalms are showing us about faith and struggle.
Absolutely. And it's quite a range, isn't it? You go from really personal, vulnerable moments to these grand cosmic pictures.
That's right. It's a collection that showcases so many different facets: dependence, kingship, doubt, lament, praise.
So let's dive in. Psalm 71, it hits hard with that theme of refuge in God, particularly when feeling weak, even in old age.
The source really emphasizes that dependence, how leaning on God becomes the psalmist's actual strength against opposition.
And what I found interesting was that combination, praying for rescue, yes, but also this commitment to praise God constantly, even in the middle of it all.
Right. It's not waiting until after the rescue. And there's that underlying belief, highlighted in the material, in God's eventual restoration, even after deep suffering.
Then Psalm 72 feels like a complete change of scene. It shifts focus dramatically, presented as Solomon's, right? Describing the ideal king.
Exactly. And, the source material frames this not just as looking back at Solomon, but looking forward. It's seen as a prophecy, ultimately pointing towards the Messiah.
Ah, okay. So it's about his just and glorious rule.
Yes, and the imagery mentioned is so evocative refreshment like rain, a kingdom stretching even over enemies. And a key point is that special concern for the poor, the needy, specifically those poor in spirit.
And that kind of righteous rule, well, it naturally leads to praise, doesn't it?
That's the idea presented. Justice and care overflowing into worship.
Okay, so after that vision of ideal kingship, Psalm 73, this one feels different again. It's the first from Asaph, and it tackles that really difficult question, a wisdom psalm, wrestling with why the wicked often seem to thrive while the righteous suffer.
Yeah, this is a tough one. The source really details the psalmist's internal battle here, real anguish and doubt.
So how do they get through it, according to the source?
Well, the breakthrough comes from shifting perspective. It's about looking at the ultimate end, the final destiny for both the wicked and the righteous.
Ah, so resolution isn't found in fixing the immediate unfairness necessarily.
Not entirely. It's more about finding stability in God's ultimate justice and, crucially, in the psalmist's own relationship with God. That becomes the anchor.
Okay, that makes sense. From that internal wrestling, Psalm 74 is just raw. It feels like an outcry during a national disaster.
It really does. The source describes it as a lament absolutely soaked in sorrow after catastrophe, specifically mentioning the destruction of Jerusalem, the temple.
But it's not just despair, is it? There's a structure there.
Right. The plea is actually built on remembering God's past actions, his power, his cosmic kingship. It's like saying, "You've acted before, please act again." An earnest appeal grounded in who God is.
And then, bringing us to the end of this group, Psalm 75. This shifts things again towards praise and thanksgiving.
A very decisive shift. It focuses squarely on God as the judge of all the earth.
And the timing aspect seems key here, based on the source.
Exactly. The insight highlighted is that God acts at the proper time. He will bring down the arrogant wicked and lift up the faithful. It's not necessarily immediate, but it's certain.
So there's this sharp contrast drawn.
Destruction for the proud, glory for the righteous. It expresses this deep confidence in God's final just judgment and his sovereignty over everything.
So when you look at them all together, 71 to 75, despite the different tones, that personal plea, the royal vision, the struggle with doubt, the deep lament, the confident praise, it really maps out a journey of faith, doesn't it?
It really does, from that very personal reliance and weakness, through grappling with life's hardest questions and landing on this bedrock of God's ultimate justice and control.
It shows how faith holds all these different human experiences.
And importantly, these psalms give you, the reader, the listener, language for all of it, for your own struggles, your own hopes. They consistently point you back to God's character and his promises as the ultimate reality.
So maybe a question for you to think about is, how does seeing this wide spectrum of emotion and experience held within faith speak to you today, right where you are?
Yeah, finding your own place within that spectrum, knowing that faith encompasses it all, anchored in God's ultimate justice.
This deep dive into Psalms 71 through 75 drew on material from the Center Studio.